Hey, Nick here. Welcome to day 70 of the Playbook project where we're starting a software company, maybe more so starting a software product in 100 days. So we're really getting down to crunch time here. We wouldn't nearly be down, uh, have as much time pressure if it wouldn't have been for the fact that I built out um, basically the wrong kind of conditional logic rather than how I designed the initial version of Playbook was based on the specifications that I had at Harvest Profit. And after doing some more research, I found that a fork logic where you have yes, no decision forks, then you have different tasks over here and different tasks over here based on the decision that was up here. That is a little too rigid for most businesses. I talked to about a dozen business owners, and there's more of a, if you have a long checklist and then you show and hide certain tasks within that checklist, that's more a highly more flexible and valuable way to do conditional logic. And so we spent probably about 3 weeks on the earlier iteration of what I was doing, which we decided to tear that out, pare back the scope of the project, and still keep the deadline in place. If you have listened to some of my other videos about Basecamp, the software team at Basecamp, and specifically their book Shaping Up and just how they build software, fixed time, flexible scope is how they do things, and that's what we are adhering to with this project slash experiment. So if you remember last week's weekly update, I did that. I believe I did last Sunday. It's a Sunday today as well. We had the primary task for the week was going to be building out the team, the user invitation, the team, where you can add users and you can assign them to teams, one or multiple teams that will use that team method or that team class to then build user authenticator, different levels of authorization and visibility in the future. And so we've built out the UI and the database logic to handle that. There's just a little bit of cleaning up that needs to happen. And so we have a half day left there. And then the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding basically filtering. So being able to filter through processes on the main dashboard screen, on the active processes screen. So as you have a lot of processes in your company, you can sort through them. Basically filter them by user, filter them by team, filter them by tag, filter them by process template. And so we'll be adding different filters over time, but we want to be able to take the data that we're dumping. We have a Rails API here communicating to a React front end. And so we want to be able to take we're feeding a lot of attributes already. And it's GraphQL, so we can just expand the GraphQL queries. We have access to a lot of that data. It's a relatively inexpensive query. So we can use that to have some very, very snappy, quick filtering of those processes. So that's what we're doing now. I'll show you what I'm doing in Basecamp for that. We had this in our earlier, more defined product specification, but I pulled it out for simplicity to show here's where the filter should be. At the top of the screen, there's this bar, this rectangular piece of UI, this card. That's where they should go. And then just on each one of our main screens here, what will the filterable attributes be? And then in addition, I showed how we do it in Harvest Profit. So we have a call to action, a little button for each one of the filters, and then there's a searchable multi-select list. So you can activate multiple filters going on in a row here. Probably what we'll end up doing is wrapping all of these filters into one and have a multi-layered list. Stripe is a really great example of a powerful multi-layer filter system. And so I'm guessing we will transition towards that, but for the purposes of getting something out the door relatively quickly, we will have multiple calls to action for each filter. So that's what we're going to be working on here the next couple of days. And then I'd really like to get that done. And then I would like to add drag and drop to a number of the key screens in the software. That's a really lacking feature. So if you build a task and you have one component, two components, three components, four, 5 or 6 components. Basically, right now, when you create them, they're stuck in that fixed position. We need to be able to drag and drop those to customize the way that you build your tasks. And then in addition, even the bigger pain is if you have multiple tasks in a list, we don't have the easiest method for, we don't have a way where you can drag and drop and reorder those, and that just is unacceptable. So we will be adding drag and drop to the software. I'm hoping this is a couple days. I haven't spoken with the developer about this. We'll have to do that. If it's going to, this could hang us up, and this is probably the most important thing. I'll try. Let's see if we can add a little bit of importance here. So I'm just going to throw in a star here. And this recurring UI, we need to be able to better handle our recurring processes. That's kind of a broken, just not an intuitive way to do it. And so we will just create a little red star next to these. These are very important. They take priority over the action text. And then if we have some, we're going to have a lot. We have about, I think I have 30 or 40 UI tweaks queued up. And so we'll start chipping away at those. So at the end of the day, we've gotten now, when I initially showed this, it was 30 and a half days of work. Now we're down to 20 and a half days, 4 weeks, 29 calendar days. That pushes us out to 10/6, which our 100 days date is 10/8. So we are really bumping up against the deadline here. And I just think back to, hindsight's 2020, can't change the past, but the decision that I made to do that the forked conditional logic was definitely a mistake. But we are going to just keep moving forward. Definitely like the philosophy of having a fixed time, flexible scope, project management methodology. And so then we'll bite off another chunk after this 100 days because we know there's going to be more improvements. And after we get our harvest profit team onboarded on here, a lot of those improvements will become very clear. So with that, just wanted to share with you where we are at as far as the upcoming week, given that tomorrow starts the new week. And so I'm really hoping here by the end of next week, and I'll update you, that we will have a really solid feel for these 3 things. And hopefully we will have, be working on the drag and drop. So if not, I think there's probably something wrong with how we restructured our data or how we structured our data. And so we will check in next week and see or at the end of the week, where we are at on these 3 key initiatives. So with that, have a wonderful day. Thank you for following along. If you like these videos, please please subscribe. I'm going to keep sharing our journey with you, and hopefully you can learn from the wins we have and learn from the losses. Hopefully there's, there isn't too many losses, but definitely we probably already spent $5,000 on a feature that we're going to completely tear out of here. So with that, have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.